let's drop into this hot fire that is the quarter rings video real quick, because there's a lot of inaccuracies, and well, we'll skim through it because I didn't timestamp any of this, but there are some things
I would
being
argue
said.
that the situation surrounding the Beanie King is getting even more interesting. Now, before I get into everything, I want to say first, I have spoken to Tim Pool at length. He is an acquaintance of mine. I don't know if you could call us friends.
This is what you're going to see over the next few days. You're going to see people who like Tim and are friendly with Tim siding with Tim. Tim's going to provide him his side, the situation, and leave out asking Chris or anyone else for their side. This is what you will see over the next few days, and as this unfolds.
We've only hung out maybe one time, but we do talk a lot. So disclosure there. I have talked to Bill of Minds.com.
You also shill Minds.com. He has many times in the past. So the fact that you're biased towards two of the people who are being accused of stealing the business, and you don't even bring up the third, which is interesting. You don't bring up the third, who is that Emily girl, who Chris has said, and I'll quote it directly, I believe she was manipulating things from the very beginning. You don't bring her into it. Why not? Is it because Tim didn't tell you that she was touching the situation? Well, by that, I mean, not his situation, but that she was involved in poking, trying to ouster this, who was a stakeholder.
We are acquaintances. We've never hung out. But in the interest of full disclosure, since I'm putting my true reporter hat on, I want to put that out there. And I've also never met Chris Poole, to my knowledge. The reason I'm making this video is because it's really interesting to me, and I feel protective of Tim.
Well, I'd rather bring the facts out. I like Chris. I like Tim's content. Never met Tim. Met Chris. Chris is a good guy. I'd rather show both sides. That's why I'm even showing you guys this video. I'm not playing the, I'm not going to show the things that are being alleged or claimed game. I'm not you, Jeremy. I like you, Jeremy. I just don't like the way you're handling this because it's your buddy. It's your pal. Maybe you should open your DMs like Reactor asked you to so he could send you some stuff. Maybe you should get both sides of the story before you rush to the defense of one person. Now, will I ever get both sides of the story? No, because I'm not big enough for Tim to want to interact with. I have no weight. It's only people that are, massive creators that are going to be able to get Tim to respond to them. And he's not responding himself. He's not saying his own share. He's not sharing. He's not talking about it. He's avoiding it. Now the question becomes, are you avoiding it because now it's coming to light?
At no point has Tim told me to not do this video. At no point has Tim, who has been very honest with me, told me to hold anything back.
Because he wants you to do his work for him, dude. You don't get that? Like, that's the point. You're going to do it for him because Tim hasn't had or said anything for himself.
And that's in private. So I think that speaks a lot to Tim Pool's character and the veracity of his statements. Some of the things he's told.
What statements? The statements that, hey guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's going to be statements that the quartering's not going to show. It's going to be statements that he's not going to show. You know why? But Tim told him not to hold anything back. He didn't tell him he couldn't show things. So why don't you show it? Show us the proof, buddy.
Told me about his relationship with his brother that has led to this whole debacle.
Where are the receipts?
Are very disappointing. That said, It's not my intention to completely bury Chris, to push him over the edge, but this thing keeps gaining steam, and if I don't address it, I'm going to lose the respect of my viewers. So with that all said,
or you're going to lose someone who's got two 700,000 subscriber channels, 144,000 subscriber business channel that was stolen from his brother, who is the co-founder. You're going to lose his respect. You will never be on Joe Rogan without Tim. You will never be anywhere.
Let's get digging. So a couple of months ago, on February 5th, it was brought to my attention that Chris Poole had started a GoFundMe for a $5,000 retainer. And he's...
Yes, we get that. Also, notice, what's the first thing on his little screen overlay there? What's he pitching there? Is that mines?
He said, "Hi, I'm Chris Poole. Some of you may know me because I play a character called Reactor on my YouTube channel of the same name. Long story short, I need your help with legal fees so I could begin a lawsuit. Long story long, in 2015, I started a business and brand. Sometime later, after mild success, I agreed to let someone I know join in and help me grow the business." He is referring to Tim Poole here.
Okay.
"I then agreed to let that person's friend join in." He is referring to Bill Ottman of Minds.com.
No, he's not. You don't know the whole story. See, this is the problem. You don't know. He's not talking about Bill. He's talking about Emily. See, you're not so well versed in this. Now are you, my friend? You're not well versed. The person he's speaking of, the friend, is Emily. Now, if you would have done some research, if you would have reached out to Chris, Reactor, you would know that. But you don't know that because you're just speculating. He's not talking about Bill. He's talking about Emily. Because all three of them LLC'd. Oh, let's go back. When did they LLC? Oh, 2018. That's the friend he's speaking about. Do some fucking research, man. I like you, dude, but this is fucking stupid. You're making yourself look bad. He is talking about Emily.
As it turns out, these were some of the worst decisions I have made in my entire life. I failed to protect myself. I would never have imagined this person would do anything to hurt me. Again, he's referring to Tim Poole. Because of this, I gave them access to email and social media accounts to the business. Once they had access, they took control and created a new corporation using the same name and logo. The only difference between businesses I created and the new one was that I wasn't an owner and a wealthy investor was.
See, this is where Jeremy doesn't do research. Listen to the sentence. Because of this, I gave them access to the email and social media accounts of the business. Them. That's plural. Now that's speaking about Tim and Emily. Once they, Tim and Emily, had access, they took control and then created a new corporation using the same logo. The only difference was it was only them two and the wealthy investor. See how a little bit of research, asking some questions, doing your due diligence as putting your journalist hat on would have done for you? See what it would have done? You would have had more information and known what the fuck you were talking about. I wasn't planning on going at the quartering. This just caught my ear, and this just shows. Honestly, dude, if you're not willing to dive into the situation, you don't need to be putting fucking tweets out like this. You're making and being extremely slanderous and extremely biased. Dude, stop. You're going to end up in jail. I mean, do you want me to release everything? I tried to leave you an out, some dignity even. Don't pursue this. Why in the fuck is the quartering over here threatening Chris. The fuck do you have to do with it? Why are you threatening him? You're not his brother. You're not involved. Who the fuck are you? I'm sorry, but you look fucking stupid in this situation. This is a stupid look. What did Chris say? Watching Quartering's video right now, there's so much wrong or misleading shit he says. It's kind of insane that someone could get so much wrong. He doesn't have anything, or else he would have put in this video. Like, he's making fucking these claims. I hope they both release everything. That way, it all just hits the floor.
The claim that Chris has made on several occasions, which we will address here, is that Bill Ottman invested $100,000 to Subverse, Tim Pool's company, in an effort to push Chris out. This is verifiably false, and I will prove that.
He doesn't prove it. Let's just wait for that. Again, he doesn't prove anything at all.
Basically, the two people I had trusted with my business now own the new corporation with a wealthy investor. I didn't even know they had created a new corp without me. I've always thought crowdfunding was a joke. Give me money.
Wait. See how he skips it? He skips literally a chunk of it. I didn't even know they created a new corporation without me until 2 weeks after they did it. Until it's right there in front of you. You skipped it to intentionally be misleading. You are being misleading. You want to call out journalists, you want to call out people, but you don't have the same principles for yourself. Principles for thee, not for me. Why are you fucking leaving out a giant chunk that's right there in your fucking face? I don't get that. Come on, man. You're better than this, supposedly, so be better than this.
Created a new corp without me. I've always thought crowdfunding was a joke. Give me money. Okay.
Skipped again. And that's not exactly what he said. He said that the lawyer retainer fees are $5,000, and that's the max he's asking for because that's all he's looking for.
Okay. The attorneys I spoke to were very confident because of all the evidence I've collected.
Chunk.
The only problem, as they explain it, is that the defendants have access to millions of dollars, and they could easily force this to cost me hundreds of thousands, while I can't even afford the $5,000.
He also skips the fact that they are accusing him of extorting them when he's asking and bringing up the situation that they are and stole the business. Jeremy. Dude. You're providing one side of the story and skipping things that wouldn't benefit the story. Why didn't you read the whole thing? This is a 17-minute long video, and you couldn't be bothered to fucking read the whole thing on your stream or your video or whatever the fuck you want to call this? Come on, man.
$1,000 retainer fee. I know this explanation has been very vague, but I'm hoping this is enough to help convince you to help me. Now, what Chris doesn't tell you in this conversation is that he had been, in my opinion, extorting his brother Tim Pool.
Actually, he does tell you that. Read up a fucking few sentences, you goofy motherfucker. It literally says, I've been accused of extortion. You saw that. We all saw that. Let me highlight it for the stupid who put videos out. Oh, that's too much. Let me highlight that for the stupid who put out videos and don't fucking read the whole thing. I've tried reasoning with these people, but it's gotten me nothing but threats. For simply trying to discuss the situation with them, I'm being accused of extortion. Jesus Christ. And you wonder why he's saying you get so much wrong. Dude, stop! I'ma tell the police! You're gonna be in jail! I wouldn't need things! Are you fucking... Are you dense? It's right there. It's right there.
For a sum of nearly $300,000. What
Oh, so he asked for a third of the company at $1.2 million valuation and investment level. He asked for a third of it. Hey, I got a secret for you. You know why he might ask for a third of the company he created? One, two, three. And so you guys don't think I'm fucking manipulating anything? There we go. Nothing below. That's 3 people. A third. A third. So 33% of the company belongs to Chris. Let me hold on. I can't do the math. I'm fucking retarded. Emily, Molly, Tim Pool, Chris Pool. I would assume that Chris would have the bigger stake in the company, wouldn't you, since he's the founder? Unless he's a good guy and he's like, you know what? We'll all file. It'll all be 1/3 share stake. That makes him look even better. Because if I was him, I would have said, I'm taking 50%. You two motherfuckers get 25%. That's what I would have done. But I have a feeling from knowing Chris, and before all this shit happened, he was saying very kind things about his brother. I think they get along fairly well. I think there's a manipulative element in there. A manipulative element in there who took advantage of it and forced him out and got Tim to refile with Bill Ottman. And her brother? Huh? Oh, and by the way, I mean, I have DMs that I could say, and you know what? I asked Chris if I could say everything or anything. I 100% can. So I'm going to. You know why? Because I find this hilarious. I asked him this, and I could show you guys this. I will actually show you this. This isn't, sorry about the quality, but as you can see, it says logo. I'll pull it in. I just haven't had the time, and I won't log in on my Twitter on here because I don't want the IP to get banned. Is this all Emily? What's Tim part? I don't get it. You two seem close. To me, it seems like Emily was manipulating it all from the start. And if I want to throw real fire, man. And someone is just a greedy idiot who wants her pussy. Yeah. I already asked 100%. I'm like, can I share this stuff? And he sent me the LLC filing. And I'm sure he's going to drop a shit ton more. And he's talking about now just making a video responding to the quartering, because the quartering's over here bending over saying, Tim, would you please put your big cock in my butthole? I really need your subs. I want to be part of that Subverse network. Oh, why are you shilling so hard for someone because he's your buddy? Why are you shilling so hard for someone that's your buddy? As a smart person, I would ask for both sides. As a smart person, you should go to Tim and Chris and then make your video. Provide the evidence that you claim you're going to provide. We're 5 minutes deep, guys, and what has he provided besides Chris's tweets and the GoFundMe? Oh, nothing. Oh, he's gonna provide a one-off.
Chris Poole doesn't tell you,
One time
and I have
one-off.
verified via archived communications between the two, is that Chris Poole willingly gave the company to Tim Poole because
Here's the timeline thing.
he wasn't doing anything with it.
So Chris gave up the company. You know, you'd be like, okay, that's interesting. So Chris willingly gave up the company. Yes. 2 weeks after they refiled the LLC in Connecticut, you're leaving out that part. But of course you leave out that part because that makes Tim look bad. He gave up the company after he had no choice. You get that, right? You get that? I'm watching it right now. Notice he claimed I willingly gave Tim the company, but he doesn't realize that 2 weeks after this was 2 weeks after they incorporated without me, and I didn't have much of a choice. Oh wait, you're too stupid to read, right, Jeremy? You're too stupid to read. Let's go back. I mean, it was right there, but you skimmed over it, of course. I didn't even know they had created a new corporation without me until at least 2 weeks after they did it. After I found out, I stopped paying the bills for them and made them take over payments. They didn't even have the decency to let me know I was paying for the business I didn't own. It's all right there. If you did your due diligence as a journalist, maybe you would have noticed that. You would have read that. You know, what does the quartering say? Urinalist? You're a urinalist because you're full of piss and should be flushed. I have no problem with you, Jeremy, but if you're going to be the person who is all about facts and truth and, calling people out when they do shit wrong, we should call you out when you're wrong, right? We should point out how you're manipulating the situation, right? Yeah, exactly. Where's the LLC paperwork and the signature of him signing over the company? He might have at that fact 2 weeks after they did it without telling him. He told it in his statement months ago. He was talking about it in November. He was talking about it in February when he started his GoFundMe. But you're acting like he's just being spiteful. And that he doesn't say. They claim I'm extorting them. They claim ownership. They stole the company. Jesus Christ, man. You're about as trustworthy as fucking those people you call out.
What Chris doesn't tell you is Bill Ottman, the wealthy investor he is alluding to, never invested $100,000 into the company.
Okay. Just because someone doesn't invest into it doesn't mean that they didn't make the offer. Maybe they made the offer to Tim and Tim brought it to Chris. Huh? Hey, Bill's willing to give us $100,000 if you get the fuck out. Nah, I don't want to do that. And then you go and rewrite the company 2 weeks, 3 weeks later with Bill as the chief investment officer.
He never intended to push Chris out. This is all one of the most bizarre narratives I have ever encountered.
The bizarre part is you
Ever.
cherry picking from things.
Fortunately,
and skipping
I am
things on.
connected with Bill and Tim, and I was able to address this. Now, it isn't my intention to cause Chris harm.
No, but you didn't go out of your way to ask Chris or connect with them or anything. But you don't want to cause him harm.
But it is my intention to protect someone I respect.
Oh, so in other words, you're simping. This is you simping for Tim.
Tim Pool. And unfortunately, Chris has amped things up, threatening to release personal information about Tim.
Not personal information. He threatened in meme form that you don't seem to understand if it's true that Tim never voted in 2016. Chris saying, give me 1,000 retweets and I'll let you know who Tim voted for. If it doesn't exist, that's obviously a meme.
In exchange for retweets and other variety of things. Now, Tim put out a tweet chain on February 9th when he promoted his GoFundMe.
Chris, you idiot.
In 2015, I started a business and brand. Since then, I brought in business partners who allegedly stole that business from me.
Oh, so you're going to go allegedly. But you're going to make accusations of fact at Chris. You're going to make accusations of fact claiming that he gets a little fucking... Quartering opened himself up for a lawsuit by making these statements.
Now I have explained.
And since he's showing it, why doesn't he just pull up the DMs from from Tim. Why doesn't he pull that shit up?
You that it is, in my opinion, that this GoFundMe was started to scare Tim Pool into giving him money because Tim refused because he never owed him any money. This scheme.
So forcing someone out of the company after the fact, after you refile an LLC, pulling a unethical stunt like that, you don't owe the person who founded the website. You don't owe them anything. At minimum, you owe him for every single month that website was active. You owe him for building the brand from the front end. Whether you pivoted or not, you still owe him for that.
Scheme was so bad it sucked Notch in. Notch donated $2,500 to this lawsuit, which, in my opinion, is defrauding people for money.
Here you go. Here's what he said. In my opinion, Chris is defrauding people for money. See, he's playing the in my opinion game because he doesn't want to look like the bad guy here when he's making an accusation that's full of shit because he hasn't talked to Chris. Chris tweeted earlier, "Hey Jeremy, follow me so we can open DMs."
And by the way, when people give money to a GoFundMe, it just funnels to that creator, or to that person. So I don't know if he's taken a withdrawal.
It doesn't just funnel to the person. It takes time and they actually investigate things, so you're full of shit. You also have to, because any of those of you guys watching, if you remember, Mersh did a GoFundMe to get Tim Pool some beanies and some shirts. Now, when Mersh did that, what did GoFundMe do? Well, they decided to make sure that it was legit. They reached out. They suspended the campaign. But you're making accusations that you have no facts about here.
All yet, but if he has, this is pure and simple, in my opinion, fraud. And GoFundMe, it just funnels to that creator.
No.
Or to that person. So I don't know if he's taken a withdrawal yet, but if he has, this is pure and simple, in my opinion, fraud. And he has defrauded the people that gave him money. Mama Rage, Logic Guy. See, a lot of these people are.
I like how the quartering is now ousting and pointing out who have donated to him. I like that. I like that he's such a big boy that he has to call these people out. Why does it fucking matter who gave money to him? Do you have to be such a fucking faggot?
Probably vocal detractors of Tim Pool, but Justin Wang is here. And I saw him retweet it last night, and I tried to DM him and say, don't do it. Tim's a good boy. Why are you simping and white knighting so fucking hard for Tim? I don't get it. What has Tim done for you? Is Tim the person who bought you your Switch? Why are you simping so hard for this motherfucker? You said you've met him once. You said you've had conversations. He's your internet friend. Why? Why wouldn't you get both sides? That's what I don't understand. You jumped the gun here. Now, I'm going to rewind just a second so we can hear what he says that he said to Tim. Is here. And I saw him retweet it last night, and I tried to DM him and say, there's more to this story. Then you see Notch, Marcus Person, $2,500. Lots of money from lots of creators who met Chris Pool or know him through Tim. And Tim brought him to VidCon, where he met a lot of people like Grade A Under A and things like that. I was going to let it just go away. That's what I made the decision at the time to just let this go away because I didn't want to cause any problem for Tim. And again, even when he started this, I reached out to Tim and I asked him, dude, what's up with this? He explained everything to me and said that he was just ignoring it because his brother was really just looking for attention.
Playing the ignore it claim when there's evidence out there. Why would you ignore it? If he's just looking for attention, why don't you address it? Why don't you call him out? Why don't you say something that it's a load of shit if it's a load of shit? But you don't, because the evidence isn't on your side.
Now, I cannot ignore it anymore because on March 31st, Chris released another tweet storm that alleges even more things. And again, this is on the back of what he doesn't tell you, another demand for money from his brother, Tim Pool.
Yes, because his brother owes him money for company he stole. Should I speak like retard for you? You're so... Oh, man. I don't understand how you could be so tied in to knowing all these people and want to do it the right way, but you only take one side of the story. You reached out to Tim. Oh, no. Hey, Tim, what can I do for you? What can I do for you, Timmy? But you don't reach out to Chris. Why wouldn't you reach out to the person that's the main piece in the story and ask him? Is it because you don't want the answer? Is it because it might show something you don't like and you like Tim?
In-depth video on my YouTube channel coming soon. By the way, he has gotten, from what I'm told, unauthorized access to the Subverse YouTube channel and created clone Twitter accounts and accessed other social media like Facebook and others for Subverse in the last 12 to 24 hours or in the recent history, and removed Subverse employees. In 2015, I started a business called Subverse. Last year, my brother Tim Pool and Emily Mully stole this business and social media accounts from me. To this day, they still lie about being the founders. Tim Pool has never, in public or private, said he founded the company. He
actually did in public. That would be right here, buddy. Subverse, on the Subverse website, was founded by Tim Pool, an award-winning journalist committed to balanced reporting. It was co-founded by Emily Mully, Chief Content Officer, and Bill Ottman, Chief Investment Officer. If they don't make the claim, why is it right there? It was easy enough for me to find. Here, let's go to article. It was easy enough for me to find. There's the claim. There's the claim right there. There's the claim. Quartering. You want to say that Tim's never made the claim? This is on his fucking website. Let me highlight that for you. Since you're too hung up on defending Tim instead of actually investigating the situation. There's the claim. Would you like to be disproven even more?
He has never told me he has founded the company.
There. He's told you he founded the company. Here. He told you he founded the company. Huh? Co-founder. What the fuck does that mean to you, dumbass? Let's see what it says here. Subverse was founded by who? It's on the freaking WeFunder. Who is it founded by? I don't know. This kind of puts a wrinkle in what you're saying, doesn't it, buddy? Huh? The fact that you didn't even actually look into these things or actually dive a bit. Co-founder. And if you don't have the other co-founder, then you would assume that these two are the co-founders. Is it me, or are you just a little stupid, Quartering? Just a wee bit stupid because you didn't do any research. Because then you wouldn't get those subs from Tim Pool.
He has never, from what I can see, publicly said he has started the company.
Maybe you should give me your channel, Quartering, because I could probably actually do something better with it, because you're just a lying, manipulative fuck right now. And you're taking one side of the story and twisting it without actually doing any research, without looking up the things that you're saying Tim's not claiming. They're out there. They're in the fucking ether, bro. But you're not willing to actually go look for them.
So he posts this clip saying, proof. And the proof is, again, something Tim has never denied.
The website that we have, subverse.net, it's active. It's been active for years. But I shifted to producing YouTube videos because, you know, admittedly, launching a website is something I'm not as an I don't necessarily have the expertise. But
right,
we have been running the site for years. Our oldest article goes
I
back
need to
4
change
years
that message.
to my brother
Vegas
Chris.
event's already happened.
You know him as Reactor on YouTube if you follow Reactor. We've got articles going back. We used to generate a couple 100,000 unique impressions per month before I actually, you know, came in because my brother launched this by himself.
There you go. Hold on. He said it again. My brother launched it by himself.
We launched Subverse, the YouTube channel, a while ago. We used to have a bunch of other videos that we actually have privated because they, you know, we changed
nothing
the brand,
weird here.
Streamlined.
Oh, nothing weird here, guys. Not at all. There's no fact that the WeFunder doesn't have Chris on it. There's no fact that the About section completely removes Chris. Nothing. There's nothing weird about that at all.
Site that we.
So again, they even went so far as to lying to investors about being founders when they raised $1.2 million from the crowdfund investment. Now, this is, first of all, a board of directors is not a founder.
You're manipulating it again. See, he doesn't open the image. Listen to that sentence. First of all, a board of directors is not a founder. Okay?
From the crowdfund investment. Now, this is, first of all, a board of directors is not a founder. This is a clear distinction. It's very different. Second of all, it is my opinion.
Hey, stupid. Let me show this to you since you can't click it open for your people. Here, let's go to article for stupid fucking Jeremy. Hey, the team, the board of directors, Tim Pool, CEO, and co-what retail. Hey, Jeremy, Emily Molly, CCO, and co-what? Oh, founder. So you're manipulating shit again.
That, and it is supported by evidence that Chris Poole never cared about this business until Tim raised $1.2 million in crowdfunding. Okay.
Tim Pool, if you wouldn't have left things out, didn't raise $1.2 million until after the fact that he ousted his brother and brought on Bill Ottman without telling his brother that he was refiling the incorporation in Connecticut. Which is kind of fucked now because I bet you New Jersey had different laws and they went the route of going through Connecticut where Connecticut laws are such a pain in the ass to sue a business out of.
Okay. The timing is perfect for that. He goes on to say, Tim had no...
The timing isn't perfect. This has been going on since August. You think that fucking March is August? You think February is August? Is this news to you?
No problem admitting I'm the sole founder of Subverse until Bill Ottman of Minds.com offered him $100,000 to replace me on June 5th, 2019. Tim, Emily, and Bill locked me out of the YouTube channel, Twitter account, and then reincorporated it without me in Connecticut. See, that would be a pretty spicy charge, except...
Here we go. Watch what this idiot does.
It's... From what the evidence I can see, it's
because I chose not to ask Chris for his evidence. Oh shit, I forgot to go back into video.
It's complete and utter bull. Want to see? And I've asked Bill if I can share our conversation. He has agreed. Here's the conversation I had with him this morning. Bill, I have an important question. There are claims that you invested $100,000 into Subverse and, quote, pushed Chris Poole out. He is a GoFundMe right now, raising funds to, quote, take it back. It is my understanding that Chris willingly gave up the domain And I have the evidence to back that up. Can you clarify? Bill responds, it is 100% false that I invested or offered anything to push Chris out.
It is 100% false that I invested or offered anything to push Chris out. Invested or offered.
Zero evidence to back that up. It was also my understanding that he signed it over and didn't want to be involved.
After you guys had already reestablished the LLC? After you told him 2 to 3 weeks later? There's two sides to every story, Quartering.
And to be extra clear with you, I have seen that communication. It exists in archive form, and he absolutely did. There is no question about it. If this were to go to court, he would lose fantastically.
Not if they did it illegally before they got his signature. See, that's the claim. That's the issue at hand, is the timeline. If you go and file an LLC outside into a different state without a person or party to the company to oust them, you've broken the contract in New Jersey. You're still accountable for that contract. Just because you remove someone's name from the contract without them signing or agreeing to that, and then they agree to it after the fact, you don't get that, do you? I don't think you're as well versed or as intelligent as you try to come off as. You don't seem to get that the issue isn't the fact that he did end up giving it over to him. He says it in the fucking GoFundMe, you tard. It's the fact that they did it and then told him, well, after the fact.
Now, other interesting dates on the timeline.
Evil Ian, you're 100% right. So they just give away board of directors seats. That's interesting, right? They brought Bill on as the CIO, Chief Investment Officer. Now, that doesn't mean he invested himself. That means they gave him a board seat. He was going to help them get money. Whether he invested himself, what he brought to the table was the fact that he knew people. That's all he brought to the table, the fact that he had started mines. You don't get to break a contract without that person being part of said contract. He can sue them. Chris can sue them in New Jersey, where the corporation was originally filed, and he has the relevant filings. They don't seem, and you don't seem to understand this, Jeremy. The reason Tim's not saying anything is probably because he's trying to fucking gather his shit together, because he is going to lose Subverse, or he's going to have to pay off his brother. That's why. That's why he hasn't said anything yet. Yeah, he offered his services, exactly. Doesn't mean that he offered the services in order to get rid of Chris. He could have just offered the services and then said, well, your brother's not doing much. Why don't we just, refile with us three? Or as many believe, and Chris believes, that Emily was a huge proponent and pusher of this bullshit. That she was the manipulator of this issue. And knowing, and not trying to be sexist, but knowing women, I'd wager that's the case. But Quartering's not going to dive into her at all. He brought her name up once. He didn't even think to look at the fact that the two people that Chris was speaking about were not Tim and Bill. It was Tim and Emily. If you would have asked Reactor, you would have saw the filing of the LLC in New Jersey, and it said Tim, Emily, Chris. It's not fucking rocket science, man. Do your job.
Chris wanted out. He was spending his time playing, of all things, World of Warcraft Classic, not really interested in working on anything, as you can see.
Hold on. Yeah, that doesn't sink there, buddy. That doesn't sink. timelines again, guys. Timelines. Can someone in the stream, either on DLive or here, type out that date? What's that date? August 26, 2019. Who cares if they're playing WoW? The point being is whether Chris plays WoW or not. I played WoW. Whatever. I don't give a shit. The point is your timeline doesn't add up. Chris stated this was in June. Hey, Jeremy, let me speak to you as a person who actually does some research and actually looks into things before I make wild accusations, call people frauds, etc. I know you don't give a fuck about me. I know we've had a conversation or two. You were going to come on my show before I lost my other Twitter. And that would have been cool. But you're stupid. You claim to do the journalism, but either the people you have working for you, your editors, or whoever you have doing research, and if it's you, you don't actually look into things. You don't actually take the time to do the research. You have not done the research on this. And the proof is you make a claim that Chris was only doing things like playing WoW Classic. And who gives a fuck? Let's say the timing, let's say he was on beta or something and he was playing WoW Classic. And he's still a majority holder. He's a third holder before they decided to reincorporate without him. If he can show evidence that they didn't tell him until 2 weeks after they reincorporated in Connecticut, your whole theory, Tim's whole theory, Emily's whole theory goes out the fucking window. You get that, right? And no court will side with Tim or what you claim that Chris will lose it. Get that, right?
See, really, his YouTube channel is dead, too. He has...
It's convenient. 8 months ago. Hold on, guys. What month was it 8 months ago? Let's work backwards. I'm not a very smart guy here. My name's The Quartering, and I don't understand what was going on 8 months ago. The last time I did a video was 8 months ago. Let me pull up the calendar. Let's go backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Was this around the time? When all this shit was hitting the fan? And Chris said in his GoFundMe that, well, I got super depressed. I stopped doing my YouTube channel. The shit really hit me in the teeth that someone I thought was family would do this to me. 8 months ago would be August 1st, by the way. So the timing of stopping his channel is kind of convenient.
Hasn't uploaded a single video in 8 months. And was spotty even before that.
Spotty?
He quit.
He was doing one every month.
Tim and crew tried to get him to stay. And I have seen evidence to this matter as well. Tim also offered him whatever money he wanted for anything. And I have seen that conversation as well.
Okay. So if Tim offered him whatever money and he requested a third of the money, wouldn't that be whatever he wanted? That's his buyout. So why haven't they paid it?
He didn't take it. On 6/20/2019, after he quit, they did the massive fundraiser to raise $1.2 million. He said nothing for 7 months. Then he demanded $333,000 from Tim Pool.
Yes, that's a third. The math. No, Tim offered to give him whatever he wanted, and if he's now saying, pay me a third of what the company's valuation was, and I'll be out of your hair, you'd do it because you said you'd pay him whatever.
They handled that the legal way. I'm not going to go into that. He didn't get anything. Now he's threatening to smear Subverse and Minds.com.
You want to show that?
And he has now come back to ask for a much smaller amount of money. Then he starts posting everything on social media. The GoFundMe is lies, and he has defrauded people for cash.
That's a claim.
In fact, and I would agree with this take, no lawyer on the Pioneer, Subverse, and Minds.com, and he has now come back to ask for a much smaller amount of money. Then he starts posting everything on social media. The GoFundMe is lies, and he has defrauded people for cash.
Jeremy, I know you said in my opinion earlier, but in my opinion doesn't hold for a full video. It holds for that statement. Now here's the question. You realize you just made a claim of fact. You made a claim of fact. You are now in a position where Chris could sue you for slander and defamation. You get that, right? Didn't you just have a lawsuit where you dealt with being assaulted and slander and all that shit and libel? I know you think you are a cool guy because you have half Asian Bill Richmond as your...
They handled that the legal way. I'm not going to go into that. He didn't get anything. Now he's threatening to smear Subverse and Minds.com. And
if he said in a message to them, and I don't know the message, I'll ask Chris after, I'm done here. And I might talk about this again tomorrow. Who knows? We'll obviously talk about it if I have him on. If he said, hey, I don't want to go forward with this stuff. Buy out what you should have bought me out. That's not a threat. Even if he said, I'm going to go forward with this, if you don't buy me out, that's just him dropping the evidence on the table of the situation. That could still be a threat. It's not smearing. Just because the facts you don't like the facts of the situation doesn't make it a smear.
He has now come back to ask for a much smaller amount of money.
This, however...
Then he starts posting everything on social media.
Is a statement of
fact.
The
GoFundMe is lies, and he has defrauded people for cash. In fact, and I would agree with this take, no lawyer on the planet would have ever advised him to do this GoFundMe, full of slander. It is very clear who he is speaking to. So the charge that Bill replaced him, invested cash in exchange, debunked. The fact that, by the way, he goes on to...
He said it was offered. That's not debunked, buddy. Just because you say something doesn't match up, because you're pulling and cherry picking, at least people are seeing your side and, well, hold on, just your words. You haven't shown anything. You showed one interaction with Bill. Where's the rest of this proof you claim you have? Why wouldn't you provide that?
To say even more interestingly that 2,000 retweets, and I'll post the Facebook message of Tim saying who he voted for in 2016.
Okay. What's wrong with that?
Now,
let me refresh this because it's being stupid.
Learn some new form of vocation.
No one cares, Joe Rogan.
Spotty even before that.
There we go.
Bill replaced him, invested cash in exchange, debunked. The fact that, as by the way, he goes on to say even more interestingly that 2,000 retweets, and I'll post the Facebook message of Tim saying who he voted for in 2016.
Yes, he posted this 2 days ago. Wait for it, though. Wait for the response, because the quartering does some massive mental gymnastics right here. I'm talking massive.
Now, you might argue this is a meme, But when you take it into the context of everything else, it isn't. And funny fact, Tim Pool didn't vote in 2016. That's a fact.
Okay, cool. So then it is a meme, you dumbass. You get that, right? You get that, right? He's playing his audience. Jesus Christ. I've never dove into the quartering stuff and actually looked into the claims he makes. But Jesus Christ, you're dumb. You're dumb. Like, I don't get it, You are dumb. Let's hear that one more time.
When you take it into the context of everything else, it isn't. And funny fact, Tim Pool didn't vote in 2016. That's a fact. So again,
can you prove he didn't vote? Besides him saying he didn't vote? What if he did vote? He told his brother who he voted for, and his brother wants to poke at him. What if he didn't vote and his brother is doing this because he's memeing? Jesus Christ, man. You're like dealing with, yeah, Evil Ian's 100% right. Facts. I was in the polling booth with Tim. I saw he didn't even vote. Comment down below if that's true. Quartering 2020.
just establishing a history of lying. He has also accused Tim of leaving him homeless by saying, despite making $150,000 a month from YouTube, by the way, congrats if that's true, Tim still decided money was more important than blood and left me broke and homeless. Then he threatened to kick me out of his house and leave me stranded on the East Coast if I went public about this. It's verifiably false based on the information I've seen. And if you take into the account...
So then it's not verifiably false. It's just false based on the information you've seen. Because you haven't seen all of it, right? You get that? You understand how verifiable things are, right? So, watching the Quarterings video, there's so much wrong or misleading shit he says. It's kind of insane that someone can get so much wrong. This person asks him what's incorrect. Mostly all of it. He does a good job mixing up the timeline to make me look bad. For example, I did back down and hand over the domain after being threatened with homelessness. But it was 2 weeks after they stole my equity by incorporating in a different state. Now, here's my question. Is the Quartering going to be a man? And is he going to let this video lie and not try and strike me? Because I have played a lot of it, but I provided commentary. I provided counter evidence. I've bounced around. I've done what they call a fair use. I wonder if he'll come at me with a claim. We'll see. And if he does, I will post it out and we will show the kind of person he is. Let's finish this up.
Count the verifiable lies that he's also spread, I think you can understand that Chris is a deeply disturbed individual.
You are making such crazy claims. Based on what?
I don't want Chris, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you are, please stop this. You're going to end up getting locked up for it. What you're doing, if you were doing this to anybody else other than a family...
Hold on, are you stupid? Are you stupid? You don't get locked up for libel or slander. And he stated on his GoFundMe that they are claiming of extortion when he's tried adjusting the buyout, etc. Are you stupid?
Family member, you would have been locked up by now.
See, this is another case of slander. Defamation. Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Hold on, what we got? AG made claims about 8 Thought that weren't true. 8 Thought is still waiting on the retraction from the Quartering. Yeah, we'll see how long it takes the Quartering to retract this. I think you should open DMs with Reactor and get him to share his evidence before you go on and continue to be about, I don't know, making slanderous claims. Continue to make slanderous claims. 1 second. Oh man, you've made some pretty outrageous claims in statements of fact after you were so good about it before. Man, I don't know, dude.
There is not a single shred of evidence that you didn't willingly give up the company, which I have seen. There is no evidence you are owed any money. And the fact...
Again, you forget. If he signed over the company after they had already incorporated in Connecticut, that's the evidence. The evidence is that right there. If Chris can show they incorporated, let's say, June 10th, and then he signed it over June 20th after being told, hey, if you bring this up to anyone, you'll be homeless, then that's not legal. You get that, right?
The fact that you are trying to extort your own brother is disgusting. Rest assured, as a viewer...
It's not extortion if he was an owner in the fucking company, man. That would be extortion on Tim's side. If Chris could prove that under threats of losing his house and somewhere to live, he didn't sign over the company after the fact of them incorporating without him, that is extortion. Oh, I can't do it this way. We'll put it over here. Right around here. Over, wrong way. Over there. You can read, stupid. Can you read that? Oh, what's the date? Subverse LLC. Why would you need to incorporate in another state? Did they dissolve this incorporation? Did they buy out Chris? Or did they use the fact that, hey, you're not going to have anywhere to live, that's your buyout? And if that's the case, well, you better fucking give him enough time to live there in 300 and some odd thousand. But I'm going to guess if Chris is dropping this, something else has come out. Something else has happened, and maybe Tim kicked him out. Maybe the reason he's bringing this up is because if the stipulation of him signing out was the fact that he didn't want to be homeless, then Tim decides to kick him out. That means he broke the agreement.
Of mine, know that when I tell you, it is extraordinarily rare when I say, trust me, TM, but there are very different or more complex reasons on why Chris was kicked out of Tim's house.
Oh. So he was kicked out. So if the agreement and the factor was, hey, sign over the company or else you're going to be homeless, and you sign it over, you get to live there. You don't even need to go after the breach of the front end of them stealing it. You agreed, Chris, you signed over the company under the understanding that you would have a place to live. Tim has now breached that part of the contract. If he kicked you out, you don't have a place to live. So it would default back to pre that agreement. So what would you get? You would need to be bought out. Precursor to that agreement. You didn't start bringing this stuff up until, I don't know, in February. So I'm going to guess maybe you got kicked out in February. He put you out in February. So even Chris has said With threats of homelessness, I decided to turn the company over them after they had incorporated in another state without me. Okay, cool. I then signed it over after they had done that. Okay, cool. So you signed over your share of the original company, which they reincorporated without you, right? On the benefit of you having somewhere to live. Are you still living there? Then Tim broke that contract. And your rights to the company come back in full effect. Reactor will tell you this. Half Asian Bill will tell you this. They breached the buyout contract. It was under the guise of you having somewhere to live. If Tim kicked you out and paid for an apartment, then you're good. Yeah, but if they dissolved the original corporation after they filed it in another state, removing him, they broke the original contract, the original LLC. And it says I believe it says in perpetuity, perpetual. Yeah, so it's a perpetual LLC. Jeremy, my friend, thanks for helping it out. I mean, you did drop some shit. There is more shit. That will come to light, I think, with this. I asked Chris, I'm like, hey, did you open DM with quartering? Yeah, but he only heard what he wanted, argued some shit points, and ignored my legit ones. Cool. So quartering finally opened DMs with him. I don't know, 2 to 3 hours after the video came out. But I think the quartering one committed slander and defamation in this video towards Chris. He's making wild accusations he has no right to make them with an attempt to harm or hurt. Just because you say I don't want to harm or hurt in the beginning is not doesn't legally remove all of your accountability for your words throughout. You are obviously at a bigger level than Chris. Now, could Chris be considered a public figure? Yes. But it's two public figures going at each other. I don't know, man.
I know them. I'm not going to spread that around. I don't think I need to. I don't think it's important to this case. Chris, please get back to working on your YouTube channel, and please stop spreading these lies about Tim, because if you continue to double or triple down, believe me, I asked Tim, dude, is there anything off the table? And he said, nope, you can see.
Oh, I asked Tim, and if you don't do what I say, me, the quartering, I'm going to tattle. I'm going to drop everything. All of what Tim said, even though you brought things and facts to me, I'm going to tattle because Daddy Tim told me it's okay.
Say whatever you want. You can share whatever you want. I'm the one that chose not to, but I can be very certain that other people will not give you the same courtesy. I want the best for your family and you, so please stop this before you really get into trouble. I hope you enjoyed this perhaps more investigative video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Investigative, but I left out so many facts, didn't read the actual GoFundMe, didn't look into the claims that I was making. I'm super investigative, man. Jeremy the Quartering, I hope you enjoyed me blowing smoke up your ass for 17 minutes. I'm a journalist. This wasn't an investigation. It's not rocket science. I already showed you. There you go. There's your proof where Tim made the claim that he was the only founder. Oh, there it is again.